Leelavati has never been to school and got married at the age of 16. Her daughter, Chandrakanta, grew up with 8 siblings and was sent to school all the way up to grade 8, but was never really told why school is so important and grew up to hate her textbooks and teachers. So when her father decided to send her brothers to school instead of her, she couldn't believe her luck. Time flies, Chandrakanta had a son who married Vishali. Vishali completed her school. She went to college, did a bachelor's and master's in fine arts, and pursued something she's truly passionate about. Vishali became the first independent woman of her family. It wasn't easy though. The government schools that she went to only had one computer that she never got to use, and her teachers were lazy and ignorant towards their students. When Vishali decided to take up a career in art and design, all her friends and family recommended she took up something more academic. Vishali's daughter, Asmi, on the other hand, and please don't judge me for that picture, Asmi, on the other hand, has always been privileged enough to get everything her elders weren't exposed to. My mother made sure of it. She always tried to put me in the best school she could afford, always made sure that I got the best guidance possible. And trust me, she tries so hard to make sure that I do all my home assignments, but anyone who knows me knows that that is practically impossible. My family's come a long way from never having set foot in a school to making sure that I do so every single day in the best possible one. All this is thanks to globalization. It has helped everyone to see beyond the small worlds that they were born in, and has helped billions of individuals to become more open-minded and adaptive to change. A product of globalization is digitalization, which has helped not only families, but communities to evolve. LGBTQ, Black Lives Matter, the Women's March, and the Me Too movement, all these movements were successful and impactful thanks to social media and digital reach. People like you and I can make huge changes sitting right here by merely tweeting an idea on Twitter. We can support change by merely liking a post on Instagram or sharing a reel. If I don't like a policy the government of India has created, all it would take for a 15-year-old to change the very law of the nation would be posting a simple video on YouTube. So many pros, so many benefits, so much good, and so much power. Why then are there still children like these?
आपका नाम क्या है? क्या नाम है? जो बोलो। शांति। शांति नाम है। आपके घर में कितने लोग रहते हैं? 6। और आप बड़े होकर क्या बनना चाहते हो? आपका नाम क्या है? क्या नाम है? जो बोलो। शांति। शांति नाम है। आपके घर में कितने लोग रहते हैं? 6। और आप बड़े होकर क्या बनना चाहते हो?
Silence. Why then are there still places like these? Why then are women still dropping out of school and people still unemployed and underage girls still getting married and beggars still begging and life so tough for so many people who did nothing to deserve it except for being born in an unconnected part of the world? We keep building more and more complex skyscrapers in already developed areas when there are places out there where building roads is a project that's been running for years. Let's face it, globalization is creating a new divide, and we, being on the better side of it, are doing nothing as individuals to fix it. Oh, sorry, my bad. Let me rephrase that. We are doing something. We are sympathetic. We're using social media to forwarded messages of people struggling out there to make it a day without starving as we sit in air-conditioned rooms and ignore the food rotting downstairs in the kitchen while we order exceeding amounts of Chinese that we know we can't finish just because we had a sudden craving for it. We discuss such things over tea as we click our tongues, letting people know that we are sympathetic. But the harsh reality is that sympathy is not what underprivileged people and unheard opinions need. They need empathy. They need people to understand them, not pity them. You all must be sitting there and thinking that they're one and the same thing. Trust me, there's a difference. Okay, I'm going to tell you all to imagine. Imagine you're sitting in a classroom, and it's math. And you've been spending the past 30 minutes trying to wrap your head around trigonometry. But no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, you can't understand how in the world of alternate realities, a square plus b square would add up to c square. Quite relatable, isn't it? So you raise your hand and you ask your teacher, Miss, would you mind explaining that again? I don't think I understood. And she replies with, oh, I am so sorry. The government should do something about this. Let me take a picture with you and share it with all my friends and family. I mean, surely you're not my problem. Surely there's nothing that I could do to fix this. Surely helping you today would not make my life any better. Do you see? When one pities the search for excuses, when one understands the search for solutions, and the world doesn't need more excuses, we need more solutions, because people who empathize have a more problem-solving approach to things in life than those who sympathize. So, I guess what I've been trying to ask you all along is how many lives are you ready to change? Because it's time that we stepped out of our comfort zones and bridged the gaps of our creation. It's time that we stopped sympathizing with such people and started empathizing with them. I took a small step, but a step towards empathy. Bhalswa slum is a part of Old Delhi, but Old Delhi is not all about underprivileged people and poverty. There are some beautiful markets out there with a vibe of its own. There is shopping and music and so much more to explore. Thousands of people, tourists and natives alike, visit those markets every single day, while completely ignoring the backwater areas like Bhalswa slum. I wanted to make sure that the people of Bhalswa slum had a voice. So, in a way, I tried to become that voice. I conducted this super small experiment, only one day long, where I asked these young children to draw their biggest dreams. To draw their biggest dreams. And you know what really saddened me? They didn't even have any. I kept trying to encourage them to think out of the box, to come up with something, to be creative, but they had accepted their reality of unending poverty. Some of them drew houses so unlike the slums they were living in. And some of them just drew the Indian flag, grateful to be a part of a country that couldn't make their dreams come true. Today, I am lucky enough to have the social media reach to make things happen, to bring change. Many people don't have that. So I posted their stories and their artworks on my social media page. Soon, I started receiving queries about who these children were and where they were from. And the unknown, unheard part of Bhalswa slum finally came to light. But this was my individual action. Later, I realized that I'm not the only empathizer out there. I was a part of my school's Uthan program. Uthan means upliftment. There, we empathizers volunteered to help young, underprivileged children as we taught them how to voice their opinion in a global language. And although it took months to see any efforts, it was worth it. Because soon we started hearing those unheard opinions. We started seeing those young, innocent faces shining with hope that maybe, just maybe, dreaming is not a complete waste of time. And all this just because it was a step that I was willing to take, a problem that I was ready to solve in my own small ways, so that a Leelavati never has to drop out of school, so that a Leelavati never has to get married at the age of 16 again, so that a Chandrakanta never has to drop out of school for her brothers again, so that a Vishali never has to be sorry for learning something she's passionate about again, and so that an Asmi doesn't have to stand here and be grateful for something that's a basic right again. Thank you.